It was June 23, 2021, when Daniel Robinson, a 24-year-old hydrogeologist, was reported missing. Leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona around 9:45 a.m., Daniel never made it home. His family received the devastating news later that day, plunging them into a whirlwind of fear and uncertainty. David Robinson, Daniel's father, felt an overwhelming sense of desperation. He couldn't understand why his son had vanished without a trace. From the moment the police were called, David sensed something was wrong. The initial investigation seemed rushed, with officers quick to dismiss the possibility of foul play. "We're following all protocols," they assured, but their confidence did little to ease David's worries. Questions began to pile up. Why was Daniel's Jeep found overturned in a ravine 2 weeks later? Why were there inconsistencies in the police reports about the search efforts? As days turned into weeks, the family's anxiety only deepened. David watched helplessly as his loved ones struggled to cope with the uncertainty. Every unanswered call and every silent phone added to the mounting tension. The community rallied to help, but the lack of progress from the authorities left many feeling frustrated and abandoned.
Search for answers after his son vanished more than 2 months ago.
Daniel Robinson disappeared on June 23rd in the far West Valley. He was last seen leaving his work site in Buckeye that morning. A month later, his Jeep was found in a ravine, but there was no sign of Daniel.
Team 12's Josh Sanders spoke with the private investigator hired by Robinson's family, who has not given up hope of finding Daniel.
Jeff McGrath is an expert at reconstructing accidents, but says when he saw the state of Daniel's Jeep, something was off.
Immediately when I saw the vehicle, I noticed there was something that wasn't right with it.
On July 21st, nearly a month after his disappearance, Daniel Robinson's 2017 blue Jeep Renegade was found rolled over in a ravine. Just miles from his work site, the airbags deployed, and no sign of...
David couldn't shake the feeling that something was being hidden. Small details didn't add up, and his instincts told him that the truth was buried beneath layers of official statements and vague explanations. Determined to find answers, he began to question the integrity of the investigation. The more he dug, the more he uncovered troubling inconsistencies that suggested Daniel's disappearance was anything but straightforward. The mystery of Daniel Robinson's vanishing became a haunting puzzle for his family and the community. With each passing day, the need for justice grew stronger, driving David to seek the truth no matter the cost. The search for Daniel was just beginning, and the shadows surrounding his disappearance only hinted at the dark secrets yet to be revealed. Following the shocking news of Daniel's disappearance, the day leading up to it was anything but ordinary. On June 23, 2021, Daniel arrived at his job site in Buckeye, Arizona, like any other morning. He was a dedicated hydrogeologist, known for his commitment and enthusiasm. But that day, something felt different. His coworker, Maria Hernandez, had just met Daniel earlier that day. She noticed a change in his demeanor from the moment he arrived. Normally upbeat and energetic, Daniel seemed unusually tired and distracted. Maria watched as he repeatedly asked if he could take short breaks, something she hadn't seen before. "Are you okay, Daniel?" she had asked, concerned by his odd behavior. The morning was rainy, adding an extra layer of stress to the workday. The steady drizzle made the job site slippery and more challenging. Despite the weather, Daniel pushed through, but his requests for rest became more frequent. Maria couldn't understand why he was so exhausted. She knew Daniel was strong and rarely let anything slow him down. Around 9:45 a.m., Daniel decided to leave the site earlier than usual. He hopped into his blue-gray 2017 Jeep Renegade and headed west towards the desert. Maria watched him go, noting his unusual haste. "Take care, Daniel," she called out, but he didn't respond. It was unlike Daniel to leave without saying goodbye. As the hours passed, Daniel didn't return. By the afternoon, his absence started to raise alarms. Maria tried calling him, but there was no answer. She reached out to other coworkers, and soon, the news spread that Daniel was missing. The initial search efforts began immediately, with colleagues and friends joining the hunt. Days turned into weeks with no sign of Daniel. Then, on July 19, a rancher discovered the overturned Jeep in a ravine near his property. The vehicle was a stark reminder of that rainy morning. The airbags had deployed, and personal items like Daniel's cell phone, wallet, and keys were left inside. The rancher mentioned that he had been searching for his cattle earlier that week, but hadn't seen the Jeep until 2 days later. The discovery of the Jeep brought a mix of hope and confusion. Authorities were called in to investigate, but questions quickly arose. Why was the Jeep found so far from the job site? What caused the accident? Maria and the rest of the team couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. As the investigation began, inconsistencies started to surface. The police reported that Daniel was wearing his seatbelt, suggesting a sudden impact. However, the lack of visible injuries and the timing didn't quite add up. Maria couldn't help but feel that the truth was being hidden, and the mystery deepened. David Robinson, Daniel's father, was determined to find answers. He joined the search efforts, working tirelessly alongside volunteers. The rainy morning and Daniel's odd behavior that day now seemed like pieces of a puzzle he desperately wanted to solve. Each new clue only made the mystery more complex, pushing David to question the initial investigation. The search for Daniel Robinson was just beginning, but the first signs of mystery had already set the stage for a gripping and emotional journey. With every passing day, the need for justice grew stronger, driving those closest to Daniel to uncover the truth behind his sudden disappearance. Before his disappearance, Daniel Robinson was known to everyone who met him as a beacon of resilience and determination. Born without his lower right arm, Daniel never let his disability define him. From a young age, he showed an incredible spirit, excelling in athletics despite the challenges he faced. His passion for sports was matched only by his love for learning. Academically, Daniel was just as impressive. He graduated from the College of Charleston in 2017 with a degree in geology, a field that fascinated him with its complexities and the mysteries of the earth. His professors often praised his dedication and sharp intellect, qualities that set him apart from his peers. Daniel's commitment to his studies was unwavering, earning him respect and admiration from both classmates and teachers alike. After graduation, Daniel made a bold move to Arizona, seeking new opportunities in his chosen field. He secured a position as a hydrogeologist with Matrix New World, an engineering company in the West Valley. Arizona's rugged landscapes and demanding work environments suited Daniel's adventurous nature. He thrived in his role, tackling challenging projects and contributing valuable insights to his team. His colleagues described him as hardworking, reliable, and always willing to go the extra mile to ensure success. Outside of work, Daniel led an active and vibrant social life. He enjoyed hiking, exploring the outdoors, and participating in local community events. Friends and family often highlighted his infectious enthusiasm and positive outlook on life. Daniel had a knack for making everyone around him feel valued and appreciated, fostering strong and lasting relationships. Despite his busy professional and social life, Daniel always found time for his family. His parents, especially his father David, were incredibly proud of his accomplishments and the person he had become. They admired his ability to balance work, personal interests, and relationships with such grace and determination. Daniel's close-knit circle of friends often relied on his unwavering support and encouragement, making him a beloved figure in his community. However, beneath Daniel's confident exterior, there were hints of underlying struggles. In the weeks leading up to his disappearance, friends noticed subtle changes in his behavior. He seemed more withdrawn and preoccupied, though he never spoke openly about what was troubling him. These signs went unnoticed by many, overshadowed by his usual cheerful demeanor. Daniel's life was a testament to overcoming obstacles and pursuing one's passions with relentless vigor. His untimely disappearance left a void that echoed the loss felt by those who knew and loved him. As the investigation unfolded, the mystery of Daniel Robinson's vanishing became even more perplexing. deepening the quest for justice and the truth behind his sudden absence. Following weeks of uncertainty, hope flickered when a rancher made a startling discovery on July 19, 2021. Daniel Robinson's blue-gray 2017 Jeep Renegade was found overturned in a ravine near Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road. The news spread quickly, igniting a mixture of relief and confusion among those searching for Daniel. Inside the Jeep, authorities found Daniel's personal items scattered around. His cell phone, wallet, keys, and clothes were all present, untouched by the chaos that had unfolded. More striking was the evidence that Daniel had been wearing his seatbelt, suggesting that the crash was sudden and severe. The airbags had deployed, but there were no immediate signs of major injuries, leaving investigators puzzled about what had truly happened that morning. Buckeye police were swift to respond, cordoning off the area and beginning their initial investigation. They combed through the wreckage, searching for clues that could explain Daniel's disappearance. The community watched anxiously as every piece of evidence was meticulously examined, hoping for answers that seemed just out of reach. As the investigation progressed, Buckeye police collaborated with other agencies to widen the search. Their efforts included deploying cadaver dogs, using drones to scan the vast desert, and sending helicopters to cover more ground. Despite these intensive search operations, the mystery only deepened when a human skull was unearthed south of the Jeep's final resting place. Preliminary tests revealed that the skull did not belong to Daniel, adding another layer of complexity to the case. Amidst the growing confusion, Daniel's family grew increasingly concerned about the direction of the investigation. They felt that crucial questions were being overlooked and that the evidence wasn't aligning with the official narrative. Determined to uncover the truth, David Robinson decided to take matters into his own hands. He reached out to Jeff McGrath, a respected accident reconstructionist and private investigator from 3 Losrican. Jeff McGrath arrived with a fresh perspective, scrutinizing the crash site and the available evidence. His findings soon raised red flags about the legitimacy of the accident scene. McGrath revealed that after the airbags deployed, the Jeep's ignition had been turned over 46 additional times, and the vehicle had traveled an extra 11 miles after the crash. This suggested that the Jeep was operational long after the initial impact, hinting at the possibility that the accident had been staged. Adding to the suspicions, McGrath discovered traces of red paint on the Jeep, likely transferred from another vehicle. This indicated that there had been a collision before the Jeep ended up in the ravine. These inconsistencies painted a troubling picture, challenging the Buckeye police's initial assessment and suggesting that foul play might be involved in Daniel's disappearance. David Robinson wasn't the only one questioning the investigation. The rancher who found the Jeep insisted that it hadn't been in the ravine for the entire 30 days since Daniel vanished. He recalled searching for his cattle on July 17, 2 days before discovering the overturned vehicle. This discrepancy raised serious doubts about the timeline provided by the authorities and suggested that Daniel's Jeep had been moved or tampered with after the supposed crash. As Jeff McGrath continued his analysis, the family's frustration with the Buckeye police grew. They felt that the police were quick to rule out foul play without thoroughly investigating the evidence. McGrath's findings supported their fears, revealing that the crash scene didn't align with the official story. The staged accident theory gained traction, prompting the family to demand a more transparent and comprehensive investigation. The discovery of the Jeep and the subsequent revelations by Jeff McGrath marked a turning point in the case. What was initially seen as a tragic accident now appeared to be a carefully orchestrated event, shrouded in mystery and deceit. The inconsistencies and new evidence fueled the Robinson family's determination to find the truth, even as the investigation took unexpected and troubling turns. With every new piece of information, the mystery of Daniel Robinson's disappearance became more intricate. The community watched closely as doubts about the investigation's integrity grew, and the quest for justice intensified. The search for Daniel was far from over, and the shadows surrounding his vanishing only hinted at deeper secrets yet to be uncovered. David Robinson couldn't stay silent any longer. Frustration and fear drove him to speak out against the Buckeye Police Department. "They're not taking this seriously," he told anyone who would listen. "They dismiss every doubt we have, but we know something isn't right." Determined to find the truth, David decided to take matters into his own hands. He hired Jeff McGrath, a respected accident reconstructionist and private investigator from 3 Losrican. David hoped Jeff could uncover what the police were missing. From the start, Jeff was thorough and meticulous, diving deep into the details of the case. Jeff's investigation revealed unsettling evidence that suggested the crash scene had been staged. He found that after the airbags had deployed, the Jeep's ignition was turned over 46 more times. Additionally, the vehicle had traveled an extra 11 miles after the initial crash. This raised serious questions about the legitimacy of the accident. Jeff also discovered traces of red paint on the Jeep, likely from another vehicle involved in a collision before the crash in the ravine. "These inconsistencies don't add up," Jeff explained to David. "It looks like someone tampered with the scene after the crash." David's suspicions were further confirmed when the rancher who found the Jeep mentioned that he had searched for his cattle on July 17, 2 days before discovering the overturned vehicle on July 19. This meant the Jeep hadn't been in the ravine for the entire month since Daniel disappeared. How did the Jeep get there in just 2 days? This discrepancy pointed to possible foul play or manipulation of the evidence. As David and Jeff dug deeper, another shocking event unfolded. Someone broke into Daniel's apartment in Tempe. The intruders ransacked his closet and accessed his laptop. When the family insisted on forensics work, the results were alarming. It was clear someone had been tampering with Daniel's electronics, going through his search history, and even fooling around on his computer. This breach suggested that Daniel's disappearance wasn't just a random accident. It hinted at someone deliberately trying to hide the truth. David couldn't believe what he was uncovering. "This isn't just about a missing person," he said. "There's something much darker going on here." The family's frustration with the Buckeye police grew as they realized the investigation was being mishandled. David pointed out irregularities in the police timeline and discrepancies in statements from Daniel's coworker. The initial officer on the case had provided information that didn't match what Maria had witnessed on the day Daniel disappeared. These inconsistencies made David question the integrity of the investigation even more. With Jeff's findings and the break-in at Daniel's apartment, the family felt more determined than ever to seek justice. They couldn't rely on the police to solve the mystery, so they took charge of the investigation themselves. David organized meetings, gathered evidence, and pushed for a thorough and transparent inquiry. His determination inspired others in the community to join the search, turning their quest for answers into a collective mission. As David and his family continued to fight for the truth, the case of Daniel Robinson became more than just a missing person story. It was a battle against negligence and possible corruption, highlighting the need for accountability and justice. Every new piece of evidence, every uncovered inconsistency, brought them one step closer to understanding what really happened to Daniel. The fight for answers was exhausting, but David refused to give up. He knew that finding the truth was the only way to bring peace to his family and honor his son's memory. The mystery surrounding Daniel's disappearance was deepening, but so was the Robinson family's resolve to uncover the hidden truths and bring justice to their beloved son. As the investigation into Daniel Robinson's disappearance progressed, new layers of complexity began to emerge, deepening the mystery and challenging the quest for justice. Just when hope seemed to be rekindling with Jeff McGrath's revelations, another startling discovery shook the case. On August 5, 2021, search teams unearthed a second set of human remains in a remote area south of where Daniel's Jeep was found. Initial examinations indicated that the remains did not belong to Daniel, but their presence raised more questions than answers. The authorities quickly dismissed the connection, but David Robinson and his family couldn't ignore the eerie coincidence. Meanwhile, forensic experts began analyzing Daniel's digital footprint, uncovering a series of text messages that painted a troubling picture. Daniel had been communicating with a woman he met through his delivery job with Instacart. The messages revealed that Daniel had developed a strong romantic interest in her, despite her clear lack of reciprocation. Phrases like, "I can't stop thinking about you," and "I need to see you again," contrasted sharply with her responses, which were polite but distant. This unreciprocated affection hinted at a possible motive for Daniel's disappearance, suggesting that personal relationships might have played a role in the unfolding mystery. However, the more the investigation delved into Daniel's personal life, the murkier the waters became. Conflicting testimonies from coworkers and friends about Daniel's mental state added another layer of confusion. Some described him as cheerful and optimistic, always ready to lend a hand. Others recalled recent changes in his behavior. He seemed more withdrawn, stressed, and preoccupied. These conflicting accounts made it difficult to piece together Daniel's state of mind in the weeks leading up to his disappearance, leaving investigators to wonder if he was hiding something significant or if external factors were influencing his actions. The investigation team faced numerous challenges that hindered their progress. The vastness of the Sonoran Desert made thorough searches exhausting and time-consuming. Limited evidence meant that every lead had to be meticulously followed, often leading to dead ends. The harsh weather conditions further complicated search efforts, as sandstorms and extreme temperatures made it difficult for teams to cover large areas effectively. Additionally, the initial missteps in the investigation, as highlighted by Jeff McGrath, had already set the case back, creating a tangled web of misinformation and overlooked clues. As weeks turned into months, the pressure on the Buckeye Police Department intensified. Public scrutiny grew as the community watched the case unfold with increasing concern. Social media buzzed with theories and speculations, some accusing the authorities of negligence or even complicity. David Robinson felt the weight of these accusations, fueling his determination to uncover the truth despite the mounting obstacles. In the midst of these challenges, a breakthrough seemed just out of reach. Investigators continued to sift through the limited evidence, hoping to find a pivotal clue that would unravel the mystery of Daniel's disappearance. Each false lead and every dead end only heightened the suspense, keeping everyone on edge, and the search for justice ever urgent. The discovery of the second set of remains, the analysis of Daniel's unreciprocated romantic texts, and the conflicting testimonies about his mental state all contributed to a tangled narrative that was hard to untangle. The investigation team found themselves navigating a labyrinth of uncertainties, where each new piece of information only led to more questions. David Robinson, undeterred by the setbacks, remained steadfast in his pursuit. He continued to push for a thorough and honest investigation, refusing to accept the official explanations that didn't align with the evidence he and Jeff McGrath had uncovered. His relentless quest for answers inspired others in the community to stay vigilant, keeping Daniel's memory alive and the hope for his return burning brightly. As the months passed, the mystery of Daniel Robinson's disappearance only deepened, with each new clue adding to the intricate puzzle. The combination of personal turmoil, investigative challenges, and emerging suspicions created a gripping narrative that kept everyone involved on edge, yearning for the truth that remained just beyond their grasp. As weeks turned into months, the search for Daniel Robinson showed no signs of slowing down. Determined to leave no stone unturned, David Robinson spearheaded large-scale search operations that brought together multiple agencies and a dedicated group of volunteers. The community rallied behind him, united by a common goal: to find Daniel and bring him home. The Buckeye Police Department coordinated with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, the Tempe Police Department, and even reached out to federal agencies for additional support. Specialized teams were deployed, utilizing every available resource to comb through the vast and unforgiving Sonoran Desert. Helicopters hovered above, scanning the rugged terrain with powerful searchlights, while drones buzzed overhead, providing real-time footage of the expansive area. On the ground, over 100 volunteers joined the effort, organized into various search groups. Equipped with maps, GPS devices, and walkie-talkies, they methodically covered miles of desert, inching closer to any clue that might lead to Daniel's whereabouts. David took on a leadership role, coordinating the efforts with unwavering determination. Each morning, he briefed the volunteers, strategizing the day's search areas and ensuring everyone stayed focused and motivated. The emotional toll on David and the volunteers was immense. Days of relentless searching, battling extreme heat and exhaustion, left everyone drained. David often felt the weight of responsibility bearing down on him, knowing that every hour spent searching was crucial. Volunteers shared stories of their own loved ones, finding solace in each other's support as they faced the harsh realities of the desert together. However, the search efforts were not without their challenges. Instances of racism and internal conflicts began to surface, adding layers of social tension to the mission. Some volunteers felt marginalized, their voices overshadowed by the majority, leading to frustration and division within the group. These conflicts threatened to undermine the unity that was essential for the search to succeed. David struggled to mediate these disputes, striving to keep the team focused on the primary objective, despite the growing unrest. External factors also played a significant role in the search efforts. Compared to other high-profile cases, Daniel's disappearance received relatively little media attention. Stories like that of Gabby Petito dominated headlines, leaving Daniel's case in the shadows. This disparity frustrated the Robinson family and their supporters, who felt that Daniel's plight deserved equal scrutiny and public interest. The lack of widespread media coverage made it harder to gather additional resources and support, further complicating the search. Despite these setbacks, the community's solidarity remained a beacon of hope. Local businesses donated supplies, and neighbors volunteered their time and expertise. Social media became a crucial tool, helping to spread awareness and keep Daniel's story alive in the public consciousness. Hashtags and online campaigns kept the momentum going, ensuring that Daniel's disappearance remained in the minds of those who could help. David's relentless pursuit inspired many, turning the search for Daniel into a collective mission. The volunteers, though weary, found strength in their shared purpose, driven by the belief that every effort brought them closer to finding Daniel. The search operations continued tirelessly, navigating the complexities of the desert and the internal struggles within the team. As the days passed, the mystery of Daniel Robinson's disappearance only deepened, with each search expedition uncovering new challenges and unanswered questions. The combination of relentless search efforts, emotional strain, and social tensions created a gripping narrative of determination and resilience. The quest for justice and the truth behind Daniel's vanishing remained as intense as ever, with David Robinson leading the charge against all odds. The investigation into Daniel Robinson's disappearance took a dramatic turn when Jeff McGrath uncovered startling new evidence. His thorough analysis suggested that Daniel's Jeep Renegade had been involved in multiple incidents before it ended up in the ravine. Jeff presented his findings to David Robinson, revealing that the Jeep had been tampered with after the initial crash. There were at least 3 separate impacts recorded before the vehicle rolled over, Jeff explained. This doesn't look like a simple accident. David listened intently, his frustration growing. So, you're saying someone staged the crash? He asked, struggling to keep his emotions in check. Jeff nodded. Exactly. The extra mileage and the additional impacts indicate that the Jeep was driven long after the airbags deployed. This points to possible foul play. Armed with this new information, David decided it was time to confront the Buckeye Police Department. He arranged a meeting with the lead investigator, determined to get to the bottom of the inconsistencies. When they met, the tension was palpable. David laid out Jeff's findings, demanding answers. Why were these additional impacts not reported? Why is there red paint on the Jeep from another vehicle? The investigator, Officer Martinez, shifted uncomfortably. We followed the standard procedures, he replied cautiously. There's nothing to hide. But David wasn't convinced. There's something you're not telling us, he insisted. These inconsistencies suggest negligence at best and possible corruption at worst. As the confrontation escalated, Officer Martinez became defensive. "We're doing everything we can to find Daniel," he asserted. "Your private investigator may have found some issues, but we need to stick to the facts." David left the meeting feeling more determined than ever. The lack of transparency from the police only fueled his suspicions. Meanwhile, the discovery of the second set of human remains continued to haunt the investigation. Although preliminary tests confirmed they weren't Daniel's, their presence near the crash site raised unsettling questions. Who were they, and why were they there? The unresolved nature of the remains suggested that Daniel's disappearance might be linked to something far more sinister. The community was left in a state of unease, with whispers of hidden agendas and unspoken truths circulating among the volunteers and search teams. Just when the case seemed to reach a dead end, a significant breakthrough emerged. Jeff McGrath received an anonymous tip pointing to a secluded area of the desert that hadn't been thoroughly searched yet. The tip included a partial license plate number and a vague description of a suspicious vehicle seen near the site around the time of Daniel's disappearance. David and Jeff wasted no time. They organized a new search expedition, hoping this lead would finally shed light on the mystery. As they delved deeper into the remote area, their hopes were high, but so was the uncertainty. What they found next would change everything, or leave Daniel's fate even more ambiguous. In the heart of their search, they stumbled upon a hidden shed containing Daniel's missing personal belongings that hadn't been accounted for earlier. Among them was a torn piece of fabric matching the red paint found on the Jeep and a burner phone with several deleted messages. This discovery hinted at a connection between Daniel's personal life and the staged accident, suggesting that someone close to him might have had a hand in his disappearance. However, as they continued to piece together the evidence, another twist emerged. The burner phone was traced back to a local mechanic with a questionable reputation. When confronted, the mechanic denied any involvement, claiming he had sold the phone to an unknown buyer weeks before Daniel went missing. His alibi didn't hold up, but without concrete proof, the case remained unresolved. The revelations left David and Jeff with more questions than answers. The new evidence opened several avenues of investigation, but each path led to dead ends, keeping Daniel's fate shrouded in mystery. The confrontation with the Buckeye PD hinted at deeper corruption, while the unresolved human remains suggested that Daniel was part of a larger, darker puzzle. As the investigation continued, the shadows surrounding Daniel Robinson's disappearance grew thicker, leaving everyone involved desperate for the truth. The quest for justice was far from over, and the ultimate fate of Daniel remained unknown, hanging in the balance like a cliffhanger in an unfinished story. Despite relentless efforts, Daniel Robinson remains missing. Months have passed since his disappearance, and the truth about his fate is still unknown. The desert holds its secrets tightly, leaving Daniel's family and the community in a state of perpetual uncertainty. David Robinson's determination has only grown stronger. Refusing to give up, he continues his activism, tirelessly advocating for a thorough investigation. He organizes community meetings, speaks at local events, and uses social media to keep Daniel's case in the public eye. His hope remains unshaken, believing that one day the truth will emerge and his son will be found. However, questions about the investigation's integrity linger. The inconsistencies revealed by Jeff McGrath cast a shadow over the Buckeye Police Department's handling of the case. Was there negligence, or was something more sinister at play? David and his family are left to grapple with these doubts, feeling that the full truth is still out of reach. The staged accident theory continues to haunt the investigation. The evidence suggesting multiple incidents involving Daniel's Jeep and the unresolved human remains add layers of complexity to the mystery. Each unanswered question deepens the family's frustration and the community's concern. The lack of definitive answers means that Daniel's disappearance remains an open wound with no closure in sight. The emotional impact on Daniel's family is profound. David's tireless search has taken a toll on his health and well-being, but his love for his son keeps him going. The Robinson family's lives have been forever changed, living with the pain of not knowing what happened to Daniel. Friends and neighbors offer their support, but the void left by Daniel's absence is irreplaceable. The community feels the weight of the unresolved case as well. Volunteers who once hoped to find Daniel are now burdened by the lack of progress, their optimism slowly fading. The search efforts have left scars, both physical and emotional, on those who participated. The mystery of Daniel Robinson's disappearance serves as a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring quest for justice. As time marches on, the hope for resolution remains alive. David Robinson continues to push for answers, believing that persistence will eventually pay off. The search for Daniel is far from over, and the family holds on to the belief that one day, the truth will come to light. Until then, the mystery remains unending, a haunting chapter in the lives of those who love him. Daniel Robinson's disappearance left an indelible mark on his family and the community. His case highlights the broader issues surrounding missing persons investigations, where countless families are left in limbo, yearning for answers that remain elusive. The unresolved mystery of Daniel's fate underscores the urgent need for improved investigative practices and greater accountability within law enforcement agencies. David Robinson's relentless pursuit of the truth serves as a powerful testament to the human spirit. His unwavering determination not only keeps Daniel's memory alive, but also shines a light on the systemic challenges faced by families searching for their loved ones. The emotional toll on families like the Robinsons is immense, as they navigate the painful uncertainty and fight for justice against all odds. Daniel's story is a stark reminder of the countless unresolved cases that demand attention and action. It calls on society to prioritize the search for missing persons, ensuring that no case is forgotten or dismissed. As the quest for justice continues, Daniel Robinson's vanishing remains an open wound, urging us all to stay vigilant and compassionate in the pursuit of truth and resolution. The mystery of Daniel Robinson's disappearance endures, leaving us all to contemplate the depths of the unknown and the relentless pursuit of justice.